Staff Sergeant John Nicholas Sees was part of the 77th Infantry Division, or Liberty Division, now made famous by the movie Hacksaw Ridge. I never met my grandfather, but I always had great admiration for him and all he went through during World War II, especially when it came to his times on the island of Okinawa. But I guess I wondered, what exactly did he go through? What was it like over there? I had so many questions and knew the only way to learn more about his experience was to live it. So I hopped on a plane and flew 6,732 miles from Newark to Tokyo. And I wish the flight was as short as this geographical simulation. My journey wasn't over yet. Hopped right off that plane and flew 969 miles from Tokyo to Naha, a city in the islands of Okinawa. And that's where our adventure begins. I didn't expect Okinawa to be paradise. I didn't expect the people to be as friendly and warm as the summer air. But it is, and they are. Beautiful, pristine beaches, just like this one. Coral reefs for miles and miles and miles. It's almost impossible to imagine it any other way. Impossible to envision such atrocities occurring in such a peaceful place. My dad told me my grandpa said his boots would get ripped on that coral when he invaded the Okinawan Islands. I wanted to trace his steps, minus the ripped boots. The Americans invaded the small islands of Okinawa before making it to the Okinawan mainland. This was all critical to the war effort, as they would need to capture Okinawa before making it to the Japanese mainland. There are those tiny islands right there. The first island taken by the 77th Division was Zamami Island. I figured this would be a good place for me to visit before doing anything else. The boat ride there was really beautiful, lots of little islands which make up the Kurama Island group. This was the first time I took such a long trip through so many little islands. This was also the first time I ever had to remove my shoes if I wanted to step onto the carpet of the ferry boat. Nowadays, tourists flock from all over the world to experience the beaches and natural beauty of the island. Back then, the Japanese readily handed this island over to the Allied forces with few casualties. I can't really describe how it felt to visit this first island, knowing the danger and obstacles my grandfather had to face. I really couldn't see it for anything other than its insane beauty. Maybe it was all this coral and the adorable fish. Or maybe I was distracted by this adorable sea turtle. I named him Zamami Liberty and swam with him for an hour, watching him eat seagrass, blissfully unaware of the trauma of the past. Or maybe he was aware. This turtle very well could have been alive when it all went down. I think I'm just going to leave this here for a couple minutes because there is nothing more peaceful than watching a green sea turtle swim in the water, completely carefree. The next island we decided to visit is known as Aijima, or Aishima, or Iejima to the Okinawans. Yeah, it was confusing when I was there. It was here that famed Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Ernie Pyle was killed. My grandfather snapped this photo of the memorial they made and where he was buried. I snapped a photo of what the memorial looks like today. He's no longer buried on the island. If you notice, one side of the island has smooth, white sand. This is known as GI Beach, the spot my grandfather and many other men stormed during their invasion. Here I am just thinking about how it all went down. Obviously, the other side makes a whole lot more sense when it comes to invading, as this side is lined with coral and steep cliffs. Stunning views now, but an impossible feat in the 1940s. Well, maybe not impossible. My grandfather took photos while he was on Aijima. It's really fascinating as I hadn't seen that particular photo of Mount Gusuku ever before. I got chills realizing that the photos that I took were the same place where he was standing. Same mini mountain he photographed so many decades ago. We basically had the island to ourselves and made our way to one of the most famous areas of this tiny place, this cave. I felt a strong presence while walking through here. It was almost as if the rocks and stone were telling me a story. With each lap of the waves, I could feel my mind traveling to the past, a time when 1,000 of its citizens hid, fearful of the Americans, fearful of the fighting, unsure of what would happen next. The citizens of Aijima have memorialized these caves and remember everything that happened during the Battle of Okinawa. I met some of the kindest, gentlest people on this island. Okay, 3 people, because the island was practically deserted. True story. Finally, we did some touring of Okinawa's mainland. This is where my grandfather's journey through the Pacific would end. While he was uninjured on islands like Zamami and Aijima, he would be severely wounded once making it to the mainland. This fountain is right outside of a castle known as Shuri. It was the only marker we had to know where my grandfather was injured. The Battle of Okinawa was horrific. Around 300,000 people died, mostly civilians. I wanted to learn more, so we went to one of the only museums on the island, a museum where the Japanese Navy had their underground headquarters. The one thing I enjoyed about this museum was the portrayal of the American soldiers. Each picture showed the greatest generation for what they were. Kind victors as opposed to braggadocious ones. These photos right here, ones that were on display in the museum, reminded me of the many photos that I saw of my grandfather with the children of Okinawa. There he is. These are the stairs leading to the Japanese underground naval headquarters. Walking through the corridors, you could almost sense the soldiers. There are many rooms, all of which were labeled, letting you know exactly who was inside and what their job at the time was. One room in particular was tarnished, riddled with holes from an explosion that the soldiers used to take their own lives as the Allies drew near. Again, I found myself in a place of so much beauty. And again I realized, just by taking a trip underground, that this place once saw so much suffering. It was hard to say goodbye to Okinawa after a week of learning and adventure, but after seeing firsthand exactly where my grandfather fought and sacrificed so much, I wanted to see the place where so many innocent Japanese civilians were killed. Hiroshima. The sights and shopping were fun, but this was the Hiroshima that I expected to see. As we all know, Hiroshima is the site of the first atomic weapon ever to be used in human history. About 140,000 people were killed or died within the months when the American B-29 Enola Gay bombed Hiroshima on August 6, 1945. The city was obliterated, and its citizens were never the same. People ran outside of this structure into the nearby river as an attempt to escape the pain. You could read about the bombs in your textbook. I could stand up there and talk about Hiroshima and show photos, but going to the city, seeing the remnants of what happened, and living among the citizens of this beautiful place is something entirely different. It is a city of resilience and strength, beauty and kindness. They harbor no grudges, no anger. Their only desire is for peace among all men. Everywhere you look, you'll see thousands and thousands of folded paper cranes, a symbol of peace. In Hiroshima's Peace Memorial Park, you'll see cranes that were made by people from all over the world. You'll even see people sitting there folding them right on the spot. But how did this crane culture come about? At 2 years of age, Sadako Sasaki was exposed to the radiation in Hiroshima. According to legend, if you could fold 1,000 paper cranes, you would be able to be granted a wish by the gods. Sadako did this, folding even more than that, but she still died of cancer in 1955. In 2016, President Barack Obama was the first president to ever visit Hiroshima. While there, he handed the children 2 paper cranes and also folded some himself. These are on display at the museum. The personal belongings of those who perished after the atomic bomb was dropped are many, like this tricycle ridden by a little boy, this watch which was given to a man by his son, stopping at the exact time of the explosion. School uniforms worn by children. I learned a great deal during my time here, and I guess it made everything seem more real. To actually see history, like this melted glass bottle, and to touch it, like this melted shingle from a rooftop. Don't worry, it's safe. I hopped on the train in Hiroshima and traveled back to Tokyo, where I would conclude this amazing adventure. After 2 full weeks in Japan, it was time to head home. The sights and sounds of Tokyo were amazing, from the Imperial Palace, to the Meiji Shrine, to Mount Fuji. I'll never forget any of it. What was I taking home with me? A deeper love and respect for my grandfather, a deeper love and respect for Japan and its people, a suitcase filled to the brim with souvenirs, and memories to last a lifetime. I can't wait for our next trip, the next moment when I get to live history. See you next time!
Mine eyes have seen the glory of